going on, you guys? It is your boy, the American F1 fan, Eric Ringle here, and we are back with another reaction video. I found this video, and I wanted to react to it without watching it first, before the reaction. I wanted to react to it right on the spot. This is the entire history of Formula One, I guess? So I'm going to leave a link down in the description below to this video. I love the title to this video, so I'm really kind of expecting this to be really good and really funny. So let's get on to this video, see how funny it is, and let's react to the entire history of Formula One, I guess?
It's 1894, and the first ever motor race has just been held from the French capital of Paris to one of its neighbouring cities, Rouen. Let's set up a championship, said absolutely no one, who raced for another 56 years before finally setting up Formula One. A championship like no other, with fierce competition amongst the world's elite drivers and constructors.
God, Monaco is always so
isn't what it looked like, though, because unlike today, the sport first started with small, privately owned teams who produced cars with little regard for aerodynamics or human safety. Mechanical problems were common, and
cared about aerodynamics or safety. One of the two. That's pretty good. That's typically what it is for Formula One teams even nowadays. It's either aerodynamics or safety.
Most accidents were fatal. In fact, at any point your car could suddenly break down, sending you to an inevitable death.
Yeah, that's a very...
Surely no one's going to want to join this.
Jesus! How many cars are on these... I need to go back and look, because I've never really studied the beginnings of Formula One and how many people were in races and stuff like that. So it's one of those that I'd actually like to go back and look a little bit more in depth, not necessarily comedy wise, but just in general at the Formula One history to see how many cars were in those championships.
Wow, it seems like people really do. And despite the prospect of imminent death, the Formula One train...
What the hell kind of fire was that? Jesus! That looked like a lava fire.
It was full steam ahead. A governing body was set up, now called the FIA, and 81 drivers decided to race in 1950, including this man, the first ever world champion, Nino Farina, an Italian driver driving for an Italian team.
Shock.
But it's not Ferrari. Although it may seem crazy today, Alfa Romeo dominated the first era
That's
of Formula
what's
One
so amazing
Ferrari.
to me.
They drove pre-war car designs with an engine in front of the driver and ran on a budget so small it would give Christian Horner an aneurysm. This Formula One thing is...
I love how they explained aneurysm with a fart noise. This video already gets an A+ for me and my family and everybody. All my friends know why it's getting an A+ now is that noise alone. But it's a really good job so far in the first 2 minutes in of explaining the history, but making it funny so that people will pay attention. So I give them an A+ so far.
Getting kind of boring, said the FIA, who introduced new regulations in 1954, which hurt the leading constructors and saw the rise of a new team
that there were text messages
who wear lederhosen and eat sausage. And who are not really best friends with right now. The team was called Mercedes, who would go on to dominate 2 championships with Argentine Juan Manuel Fangio there.
Did we really throw a Nazi reference into this video? That was interesting. Yeah.
Success was put to a dramatic halt after the team's involvement in the deadliest motorsport crash in history. The 1955 Le Mans disaster saw the deaths of 84 people, including Mercedes driver Pierre Levay. And although no one was to blame for the crash, Mercedes withdrew from motorsport entirely for 34 years.
I've heard of this. I've heard of this accident. It killed 84. So it killed the driver, and then it also killed a lot of the spectators at Le Mans. And I now, just hearing that first glance and hearing that Mercedes dropped away from motorsport, that makes a lot of sense as to why they would have left motor racing. your car is involved in one of the most, widely known mass casualty, events in motor racing. Like, you feel like that it would be really hard to go on. I get that. Okay.
Moving on, are you tired of your engine being in front of your car? Do you want a new design that gains you performance and championships? Well, try the new mid-engine design coming to a paddock near you.
I love the infomercial. Sorry, that was so funny. I had to stop it for a second. I love the infomercial. The infomercial feel as a guy from the United States. There's a lot of people in the United States that love our infomercials, and they're funny, so that was good. Very nice.
It's the late 1950s, and after the fall of Mercedes, Ferrari, and Alfa Romeo, Formula One is wide open for the taking. Oi, bruv! What's that? It's the UK, who love one thing more than tea and biscuits, and that's world domination. But this time in the motor racing world through the development of mid-engine cars, which went on to wreck the pre-war designs used by Italian teams, leading to 5 new British
Those
world
cars
champions.
look
Elsewhere,
so
F1 has begun
ridiculously
expanding overseas
dangerous.
with 4 new races in Canada, the USA, Mexico, and South Africa. These two have just set up their own private teams called McLaren and Williams, and Formula One constructors.
Wow. Hold on.
South Africa. These two have just set up.
Jesus, Frank Williams does not look like had you told me that was Frank and that was Bruce, there's no way. Frank, I would have never guessed that in a million years. If you'd have just shown me this picture and told me who they were in Formula One, I would have never guessed Frank Williams and Bruce McLaren. No way in a million years. That is just weird looking.
And Williams, and Formula One constructors need more financial support than ever before.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
In the 1970s, Formula One started getting pretty expensive.
Sorry, I'm a wrestling fan of Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon's theme music.
Life insurance. But teams have just found a way around it by allowing brands to advertise their products during a race in exchange for a fee. And they would start to advertise anything that paid well. Condoms, cigarettes, musicians. And even today, sponsorship still remains a huge part of the sport, to the point where it looks like 6ix9ine just shapeshifted onto the new RB19 chassis.
That visual is funny alone. Just a visual of you can Formula One cars have gotten pretty ridiculous when it comes to the amount of sponsors on it. That totally makes sense now.
This racing thing's pretty cool, said hotshots Niki Lauda and James Hunt, becoming the 2 faces of the sport in the mid-1970s. Lauda, the face of professionalism and hard work, and Hunt, the face of cigarettes, champagne, and models. He was a bit of a legend. The two would give fans
I was gonna say, yeah, he is a bit of a legend.
the closest title fight yet in 1976, with Lauda and Ferrari putting up a dramatic title defense against Hunt and McLaren. Despite Lauda almost dying in a crash at the Nürburgring, the championship went down to the last race of the Japanese Grand Prix.
I love
with
that
Hunt
movie,
clinching
by
his
the
first
way.
and only
Rush
title
did
in the
such a
dying
good
laps
job
the
of
race.
telling that story.
Our new world champion, James Hunt, by just one single point.
It's the late 1970s now, and being a constructor sucks for a lot of reasons. Formula One is racing in over 5 different continents, which is barely feasible for private teams. Each track controls the advertising and prize money of their individual Grand Prix, and the sport's governing body, the FISA, dictate all the rules, regulations, and commercial rights. I know what to do, said Bernie Eccleston, forming the Formula One Constructors Association, which leveled the playing field going into the ground effect era, which was...
Oh, God. So I just watched a video kind of talking about this. I don't think they'll bring it up in this video, but Josh Ravel, I may leave a link to his video in this on this as well. He did a really good job of kind of explaining Bernie Ecclestone and his whole during this time frame, his whole what he had a hand in Formula One. It was a really good explanation.
Era of huge change in Formula One. New technology has been introduced with the use of side pods. A Brazilian called Nelson Piquet is winning championships in both motor racing and Muay Thai kickboxing. And there are a couple of rookies in town who
He
can
was
only
quite
be
the
described
fighter.
with one word. Greatness.
Yep. That man was amazing.
Who are these guys? Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, who started their rise in Formula 1 during the mid-1980s. Prost was simply sensational, winning the 1985 and 1986 championships with.
There's a part of me that wishes, like in another universe, that I was alive, like really alive, and like really could understand, you know, the fight that these two put up, and like Formula 1. Which was such a great sport back, like from everything that I've watched online, it was such a great sport back then. And that was really when the sport was really just, you know, hands down the top flight in all of motor racing.
McLaren, and Senna had a driving style so mesmerizing that it actually made you forget that he was in a relationship with a 15-year-old at the time.
FBI, open up!
Is that true? Please don't tell me that's true. Let's just
believe
move
that these
on.
two would be a great pairing.
I hope that's not true. I really hope that's
out
not
of the
true.
exhaust pipes, because instead it led to a fierce rivalry with two championships ending in dramatic fashion in Japan. I mean, seriously, what did they expect to happen? It's 1992, and Williams
Right?
had just developed a technology called active suspension. Hey, why don't we use it to dominate the grid for 2 years? Said Williams, using it to dominate the grid for 2 years, which saw Nigel Mansell and Alain Prost win back-to-back championships with the team. Heading into the 1994 season, Formula 1 was set for one of its most exciting years yet. Ayrton Senna moved to Williams, replacing the retiring
Nigel
Prost.
Mansell
Michael Schumacher was
is
given a
another
competitive
really
car at Benetton, and Ferrari had hopes for a
underappreciated
rebound year with Gerhard Berger
Formula
and
1
Jean
driver,
Alesi.
I've got to say.
Oh boy. What an exciting year.
Like in the United States, we tend to not. Oh. And this video.
The 1994 San Marino Grand Prix to this day remains
Wow.
the most devastating weekend of Formula 1's history, with 2 fatalities in 2 days. A crash at Villeneuve during qualifying saw the death of Roland Ratzenberger, and on lap 7 of the race, 3-time world champion Ayrton Senna experienced a...
I give all the credit in the world to Senna, even to want to race in this. Now, I've watched some great videos, I think, on my channel over time of like Dr. Sid Watkins, you know, basically telling Senna to, you know, this is what you love to do, like, do it. Like, there's no way you can't not do it. And like, it's a sport you love. Like, wow. Just that is one of those days in motorsports that like you will remember for your entire life. Like, if you're thinking about it, the day that Dale Earnhardt died in NASCAR and the day that Ayrton Senna died, like, those 2 days are just ingrained in people that are in motorsports. Like, that's just ingrained as days of just absolute, you know, sadness, you know, emotion. Like, those days for those Formula 1 fans and NASCAR fans, like, those are the hardest days. Sorry, I'm...
The steering column failure at a speed of 192 miles an hour,
back into
which saw the Brazilian have a fatal crash at the Tamburello corner. This would prove to be a serious wake-up call to the FIA, who believed that F1 cars were inherently safe despite the dramatic speed increase over the previous 8 years. And after the crash, many of the Williams personnel were investigated due to the belief that it was a mechanical failure that caused the crash. Let's get back to the racing now, because 1994, despite being overshadowed by the deaths of Ratzenberger and Senna, still had one of the closest title fights ever between Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill. The two drivers were split by nothing.
This is
the whole
when, like, so
season,
95,
arriving at the final
96
race
is
in
when
Australia
I
just
started
1
getting
point
into
apart.
Formula
And this
1.
race would see the 3rd controversial ending to a championship in just 5 years, when the two made contact in a crash that was potentially caused by Schumacher, knowing full well it would lead to his first world title. Despite all the controversy around it, no action was taken against Schumacher, and he would never try any antics like this ever again.
Sorry, I had to pause that. That's just funny to hear that statement.
Until 3 years later, when he did the same thing to Jacques Villeneuve, got disqualified from the 1997 championship,
tried to take out Jacques
by the mainstream media.
Yep, I do remember that. That was my beginning stages of getting into Formula One. Was really watching Jacques Villeneuve, Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher.
The World Championship is in the hands of McLaren and Mika Häkkinen. Michael Schumacher is hunting his first title for Ferrari and third as a driver. And Formula One cars have a new soundtrack through the introduction of V10 engines.
Oh, yes. Can we please go back to this sound? This is such an amazing sound. I remember watching races, and this was that sound that was just so satisfying to hear. Like, can we please go back?
At this point, no driver had won more than 2 titles in a row for over 4 decades. But Ferrari and Schumacher were about to change that, winning 5 championships in a row, including 2 title battles with Mika Häkkinen and Kimi Räikkönen, and 3 years of complete supremacy. Like in 2002, where Ferrari finished the season with the same amount of points as every other team in the championship combined.
Jesus Christ!
Company, who have just
That's ridiculous!
The Formula 1 grid.
How do you end up with that many points?
Superstar in their hands. Fernando Alonso, a 22-year-old Spaniard who pulls off moves which defy the laws of physics and is ready to
look at that outside of the 130R,
becoming the youngest ever double world champion. I want to be great again, said McLaren, who went into the 2007 season with an all-new driver lineup and a brand new plan that would bring them championship success. The plan involved signing the defending champion Alonso and an inexperienced rookie to ensure no competition in the team. What's the worst that could happen?
What's funny, though, is that you can pretty much tell that Fernando Alonso knew what was coming in what I would consider probably the greatness of Lewis Hamilton, you know, and what we saw his rookie season. Like, the fact that Fernando went to some of those lengths to kind of slow down his teammate, you could pretty much tell he knew what was coming.
So yeah, it turns out McLaren made a very slight error.
Aw, Indy, I miss Indy.
Because instead of signing an inexperienced rookie, they signed Lewis Hamilton, who raced like a veteran from the start, sparking a number of debates and controversies at McLaren over the season, like Spygate, when the team was fined £100 million for being in possession of confidential Ferrari documents. Ironically, it was Ferrari who went on to win that season with Kimi Räikkönen, although Hamilton would eventually win out the next year with an overtake at the last corner of the final race.
Is that Glock? Is that Glock? That is... I want to react to that video at some point, is the highlights to that race.
2009, a year which shaped the landscape of Formula One with a new regulation change by the FIA.
Okay.
Used the regulations to produce a dominant car. And that's exactly what Brawn did to perfection, which allowed them to bring title success to
That's
Jenson
a movie
Button
I cannot wait to see.
Could catch up for the next season. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Sebastian Vettel, who Red Bull gave wings in the early 2010s.
Is the Brawn GP documentary that Keanu Reeves is doing. That's a movie I can't wait to see.
Battles and 2 years of record-breaking dominance. Going into the turbo hybrid era, Prime Vettel was simply unstoppable. But the introduction of V6 hybrid power...
How do you not talk about Vettel and... Well, sorry, never mind.
...units led to a new era of dominance in Formula One when a constructor returned after 55 years.
This...
Mercedes were back with a vengeance.
Sorry, I'm loving the music.
Supreme aerodynamics and phenomenal engine power, which blew out all competition for several years. Although this meant that a conflict started between their
Nico and
a rivalry coined the Silver
Nico and Lewis.
2 trade championships and dominate the grid for 3 years before Rosberg's retirement in 2016. What happens next? Lewis Hamilton goes on to win 4 more titles, and the team dominate the competition until the final year of the turbo hybrid era.
Oh no. Oh no. No. As my son likes to say, no, 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 no.
In 2021, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton underwent one of the closest and most grueling championship battles in history. They were split by almost nothing the entire season. Some days Verstappen was ahead, some days Hamilton was ahead, some days they were side by side, and on one occasion, they were on top of each other. It was kind of hot. The championship went down to the wire, with several crashes and controversies leading up to the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where Max Verstappen converted pole into race victory to win his first world title, in a race that was straightforward, not controversial in the slightest, and didn't cause the complete irreparable destruction of Formula One social media. On a completely unrelated note, there was a change in F1's race directors going into...
If you don't think that 2021 ruined social media and Formula One, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, if you don't think that ruined it, y'all are living under a rock.
The next season, which saw new regulations and another record be broken after Max Verstappen won 15 races in a single season to take his second title. And that pretty much brings us up to today. Have I covered every single driver and big event in Formula One's history? No, but I tried. Shout out to Bill Wirtz and...
That's so awesome. That video is so good. Guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about that video. I think he did an absolutely amazing job of, you know, really covering the history of Formula One by making it entertaining. But guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys would like me to react to next. As always, slap a like on these videos for more Formula One content to be pushed out to the Formula One fans. And guys, if you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. We're on a mission to 500 subscribers before the end of the year. So I would really hope we can get there. So guys, please hit that subscribe button if you are new. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And guys, for the American F1 fan, I'm Eric Ringel, signing off.